Look at your sunflower on your leg. Your daisy.
I traded it for a mural in the Philippines.
So good.
Thank you. All right, let's try it again. I'm
good.
Okay?
You're good? Good enough. You've got a little bit on that.
Oh, no way, really? This one?
Yeah.
You know what?
That. One more. It's like more along the top.
You think
You're
they'll
right.
notice
No.
it? It's all right. It's my podcast. I do whatever I want. I can have food in my tea. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
I'm so grateful. Yeah, I'm so grateful that you're on this with me. It's really important for me and powerful for me to have you here because, okay, as I was mentioning before the food, I've known you for a few years. You're actually somebody who the coincidence of us meeting is uncanny because I heard you in a podcast years ago, like when I was starting my sexual awakening journey. I think I've briefly mentioned this to you.
No, you didn't.
And really? Okay. So we just met now through Nico, through my partner, and you know, you and him met at this festival, and he ended up telling me about a conversation with you, and he said, I met this amazing woman, and she teaches women how to have orgasms, and I had a conversation with her about our relationship and like some of the stuff that you've been going through, and then later on, like months later, he sent me your Instagram, and he was like, this is the woman I was telling you about. You should ask her to be on your podcast. And I was like, I looked at your Instagram and I was like, I recognize that name, Cervix. I've like definitely remembered that. And I was like, no way. I don't know what the specific podcast, but years ago, so this is about 4 years ago, my kind of like sexual awakening journey started. Mm-hmm. And it was the moment that I learned, like around this time that I heard your podcast. It was like the podcast of you being a guest on someone's. And also the documentary called Principles of Pleasure, if you've seen that. But those, so these pieces of media that I consumed at this time was what started my journey from thinking that I was asexual, just completely switched off. Like, I just can't have an orgasm. I can't feel pleasure. Like, I was like, I guess I just have to have sex with men for the rest of my life and just make myself do it, Like, so many women have this experience. And it was you're one of the people who planted the seed for me that actually I can learn to have an orgasm. Like, that I can learn to switch my body on. Yeah. Which is, it changed my life. And I've been on this journey ever since. And it's been it's been like the biggest struggle of my life still, right? Like, it is still so much of a, I'm still so much on the journey. And so I look up to you a lot and like what you've overcome. And I've heard you now on a few different podcasts and like telling your story about, and it sounds quite similar to mine. Like, it's like, and you just became like very intrigued by like, I can teach my body. I can remember, I can remember. My body can actually remember how to do this. So I would love to hear your story and, in person, in the flesh. Okay. And so thank you for being here. And I'm excited to talk to you about this.
That's so great. Yeah. Well, just listening to you speak, actually, I thought, I know this. I was also very similar. I actually remember being quite a sexual young person. And then had, all the shaming that happens during teenager years, and in my case, and then also in my family, not a lot of conversation. In fact, no conversation at all. So it was always this big dark secret. And so, it was only when I moved to New York, and that was way back when, vibrators were starting to just become like, it's okay. And there were like female run sex shops, starting to open up, and it felt like a little bit safer. And I remember I was waitressing, and I was... the first part of the story was with a guy, and our sex life started off really well, as they often do, but then it just kind of went down further and further because I didn't know how to work my body. I didn't know. And I remember he walked in on me, and I had the vibrator in my hand, and I threw it across the bedroom because I was so embarrassed. That's where I was at with it. Yeah. Like, I was so like clouded in shame and secrecy. And so our relationship had to come to an end because neither of us could really speak about sex, even though we had a lovely relationship in many other ways.
How old were you at this time?
That was... I was 22, 23.
That's when I was. That's how old I was at this time.
Yeah, our relationship broke up. I was 26 and I was like, okay, I have got to take this and I've got to get control of this. And I was waitressing. I did not know what I was supposed to do. There was a woman sitting in the corner of this cafe and she'd be coming in every day and she was just typing. And I was like, what are you writing? And she told me she was writing a book about female pleasure. And I was like, oh, wow. And I just got really curious. And she just asked me straight up, how do you masturbate? And I'm like in a cafe with cups and plates in my hand. And I'm like, I go straight into that little shy kind of, feeling. And I just, I was like, I think about it and I'll come back to you. And so I put the dishes down and I go back to her and I was like, I do it like this. And you showed her. I was like, I use one finger and then do it sometimes two. And she was like, how do you go with that? And I was like, not very well. And sometimes, the only way I can have any kind of climax is through using a vibrator. And she was like, well, that's fine and equally as valid. Like, there's no shame around that. And that became a really important thing for me to, own at that point in my journey, was that, for some reason my body was a little numb, and that was what I needed to even learn how to feel what a little peak experience of pleasure could feel like. And that's okay. It was an amazing learning tool. I no longer have a vibrator in my bedside drawer. Like, I had to walk it. Eventually I owned this foot long plug into the wall vibrator that looked like a mic. You know the one I'm talking about? It's quite fucking amazing. Yeah. But I would never go anywhere near my clit with that anymore.
Oh my God, no.
Because it's it was the classic experience. You could have an orgasm really quickly, but if you used it too much, you just get more and more numb, and then it'd take longer and longer. And I was just like jackhammering myself, basically. Oh my God. Anyway, so that was the end of that story. But so she took me under her wing, and she sent me off and gave me pleasure missions. Go watch porn, go come to this party with me. And so I just started opening up more and more, but still I felt like there was some piece missing, which is, why do I need to force and push an orgasm? Why can't I be like what I've read about, or other women that I hear, and they seem to make it look so easy and and I went and studied sexology to understand, but I also found that was very, what is great about sexology is it's very positive. It's sex positive, which means whatever works for you, do it. So that, I think, in a therapeutic sense is good, but then there's a limit to that, because if you're on a path where you're wanting to awaken deeper parts of your pleasure anatomy, and you're so well practiced, like I was with the vibrator, for example, it's just the easiest way, the most, I almost guarantee it. And I just realized I actually, it doesn't serve, and it's so goal focused. It's so much about how quickly can I come, how easy can I make this be. It's I think on the other side of it, look, it can be fun. So I don't want to, there's so much fun with it as well if you look at it that way. But from a deepening perspective, moving into sacred sexual practices, where you're being asked to embody at a deeper level and feel so deeply sensitive, subtle things that if you're very used to a more obtuse sensation on the clit, it's harder to bring your mind deeper into your body because there's just not a lot of sensation there. Yeah. So the first part of my work was just learning how to feel inside and heal and clear a lot of numbness. And that year was a really difficult year because I didn't have my vibrator that I could just turn to anymore. Yeah. Interestingly, I found that my clitoris became more and more sensitive eventually. But yeah, I went through a year where I wondered if I would ever experience pleasure and orgasm again. And So, I mean, I was pretty hardcore. I was pretty rigorous. I hardly had a clitoral orgasm that year. Because I wanted to see what would happen. I just wanted to see. It's kind of like choosing not to drink for a year, or going off the thing that is your habit for a year, and just seeing what happens when you just release the dopamine addiction or whatever it is. And yeah, it was a little more boring.
Yeah. Did you know that there was, like, were you aware that there were other types of orgasms that you could
Yes.
have? Yeah. So was
Very
that the
much
goal, or
so.
you were just like, let's just see, like, no expectations?
Yeah, good question. Well, no, I think I was always on a mission to experience as much as I can of my humanity. How much of my body can I feel? What am I doing here if not to feel everything that I came here to feel? Whether it's like grief, or the deepest grief, or the purest forms of bliss, like that's what I'm here for. That's why I chose to incarnate, not to keep myself sort of small and not taking risks and not taking chances. So this was, how much can I expand my physical experience? And so my path has been one of a lot of experimentation and a lot of exploration. So I've tried so many different things over the years to awaken and open my body, ranging from plant medicine to different technologies, putting things around my chest to measure my heart rate, and things around my brain to see what my brain states are doing. But when I began, and I actually started, I actually decided I was going to quit everything to do with sex after I'd done the training, because I just realized it's like this mountain. It's like this mountain of shame. It's like what I think is fascinating about sex is it contains within it our brightest light and our darkest shadow.
Absolutely.
Gnarly things in around sexuality, but also this incredible human potential. So it's a fascinating territory, and just to address what you said earlier, the unfolding and the learning, it never ever finishes. That we were just talking before about, things I'm exploring that are, in a whole different zone now. But then what I was exploring was, can I just feel more is what I wanted. And when I'd quit, I wanted to quit sexology altogether, because I just felt like, oh God, wow, there's so much. And then I had this really difficult relationship where my pelvis was bound. It was so tight because it was a pretty toxic relationship, and I shut down. And I suppose there was a part of me that was like, how can I be a sex therapist if I'm not very orgasmic and my pelvis is in full of pain now, and like I quit. I need to go do my own healing and figure this out. And so I went to have some body work in Bali, just an internal session. And the body worker had his finger on my cervix, and I couldn't feel my cervix. And at that point, I knew that my cervix had 3 sets of paired nerves coming out of it directly to the brain, which is really incredible. The scientist that taught me that, Dr. Barry Komisaruk, he wrote a book on it. He actually thinks that it might be the only organ with 3 sets of paired nerves, which makes sense because it's part of our reproductive system. So there's a lot of energy and information traveling from the cervix to the brain. The vagus nerve being one of them, which is, it's so popular now, everything to do with the vagus nerve, right? But when I started, not at all. But it was then that I realized, because of the connection to the vagus nerve, that maybe I wasn't feeling a lot. It wasn't to do with the way I was wired. It was to do with the way my body was holding the past, as in trauma, as in the kinks, how I've kind of by osmosis kind of taken on my mother's patterns, just by watching how she was around her sexuality, just kind of by osmosis, by watching how women are, and we just take this on and we take this in, and it causes our bodies to tighten, and it causes our nervous systems to not feel safe at all. So whatever happens at your cervix, which is the root of your vagus nerve, it's going to tell your body if it's safe to fully and truly relax, or if you have to remain vigilant. So if you're not getting the kind of sex that you want, if sex is feeling average, if sex is feeling uncomfortable, if you're having sex when you don't want to be having sex, if you have sex too soon, before you're properly aroused and your cervix has time to lift up, because your whole uterus lifts during arousal, then your whole body is not going to, it's going to be incoherent and unable to, open up into these optimal flow states. That is the orgasmic state. So this is a bit of a long story, but I'm nearly there. But, so having realized that my cervix was completely numb gave me a really good clue about why I couldn't feel a lot. And so my next mission was just simply another exploration piece, which was, let me explore what happens if I just stimulate my cervix and leave my clit for a while, just stimulate my cervix for a while. And so I just put on a little event back 10 years ago, 2016. And a lot of people from around the world joined. I think we had 1,200 people join in a weekend.
Wow.
And that was wild experiment, because I had no idea what I was doing, right? I was just like, let's just stimulate the cervix, see what happens.
I remember this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just the wild stories, I just knew that we were onto something. Because many had never touched their cervixes before. Many were scared to. Some were having these amazing empowered experiences. Some were having pleasure. Some were having past life regressions. Some were having like deep trauma come up. And I was like, holy shit, I'm like, what am I doing? What have I got myself into? Yeah. And that was really the catalyst of a lot of then, learning and becoming the teacher that I am now, because there wasn't anything at that point. There were a couple of teachers that were teaching about cervical orgasm and that it was possible, but no one at that point was teaching, well, actually, there's a big reason why it's so unavailable for the majority of us, even though it is the most highly sensitive organ.
More than the clit.
Well, if you look at the connection to the brain, there are nerves over the top. I would say like the highest concentration of nerve endings on the head of the clitoris is unmatched. Yeah. But it doesn't have the same, it's got the prudental nerve going up into the spine to the brain. Now, the cervix has nerves on the face of the cervix and these 3 nerves up to the brain. So it's sending a lot of signal, a lot of energy, information up to the brain. So, So there was a deeper reason why this was unavailable. So I started to explore that. And then through the exploring, the healing actually that I was doing, the pieces started to fall into place actually. And yeah, my clitoris is still part of my practice. I have not like denied it, which is, what, a lot of purists would say, just leave it. But I don't need to. It's just part of my musical instrument that is my body. It just plays another note. The danger is when you are hooked on it and when you aren't actually taking care of your internal environment, like if you're over prioritizing it. And I also think when you're learning, it just pays to just give it a rest so that you can start to attune and awaken the neural connections intravaginally. And really spend some dedicated time doing that. Because you do find just naturally that the clitoris, you don't really, it just, the amount of the quality of the orgasmic states through intravaginal stimulation just become vast, right? So the clit, I love to use it to bring myself back to ground myself a bit more. But also, yeah, over the years, I've learned how to turn the energy of the clitoral orgasm up the body, so it's not the same release.
Right. Through the breath. Would that be? Or?
Through my awareness, through my relaxation, through my choosing. So a lot of what I teach is I choose that this is occurring, I see it in my mind, I manifest it in my body. So there's so much of this that is, for me, like a beautiful manifestation process, you know, which is interesting because the cervix is the birthing portal. And so here I think of it like quantum birthing, you know, it's like I'm using my mind and my awareness. Sometimes I use my hands to direct the energy up my body, and so that just helps my mind feel. And I relax through my cervix. Relax, relax, relax. You know? And yeah.
That part is hard for me, particularly because I have always felt that it's easier to have an orgasm, which is already like always been quite difficult for me. Like to even have like a clit orgasm, it just like takes like a really long time. But I find that it's it's this weird balance of relaxing my body, but also I find that the pressure and like the holding my breath it makes it easier to come out. And so it's like I almost feel like it's easier to have an orgasm if I am tense.
Tension,
But that's not, I can feel that's somatically, that's not really, it doesn't make sense to do that.
Well, from a sex positive place,
it's
that's
like, if
fine.
that works for you.
I also just want to say, like, you know, this whole thing around it takes so long. I reckon, like, what happens if you just let yourself enjoy the length of time that it takes? Because I think we put this pressure that, you know, our partner is getting bored, or I'm getting bored, or like, it's like, just let it, just enjoy it. Why do we want the pleasure to end so quickly? It's true. You know, like, absolutely. Why not just like milk the moment? Like, if it's going to take 30 minutes, oh yes, that's 30 minutes of just enjoyment, you know? And so I think that's a lovely reframe.
Yeah.
Now, there is an interesting thing with relaxation is that it's not collapse. You're not just collapsing. There is a tension is the wrong word. There's like a tone. There's a tone that just naturally happens when you relax, because your vagina knows how to draw up. When you relax and you are like feeling and you're imagining the beautiful channel of energy moving up your body, and your vaginal tone will kick in. You can even visualize it in your mind. I often, when I go into orgasmic states, it's like I can see my vagina going like this, and I'll say to Luke, is my vagina like doing this? And he'll sometimes he'll say, yes, it really is.
He can feel it, like, while he's inside you.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Sometimes he'll say no, and I'm like, no? He's like, no. So it's in my head. There's what I think I'm feeling is vibrational waves. I don't know what I'm seeing in my mind. It's like, and then if it's really strong, he can feel it.
Wow.
So I don't know. It moves into the physical.
It's kind of like, it's something that I've been just experiencing lately, is like when my partner speaks like I love you into my pussy, like I can feel it. I feel the vibrations just like coursing through my body. It's incredible. It's so healing. Healing. Yeah. So it's like speaking to it like directly right there. It is. It's incredibly powerful. I feel like it's similar. Okay.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, thank you.
But that's it, because you are, while he's doing that, you are seeing, feeling. It's like seeing, feeling. It's these two words put together. It's like you're feeling it, but then you're seeing it as you feel it. You're imagining it. It's moving, right?
Yeah.
And your mind is in it. So if you amplify that with your mind, if you give it a color, if you give it a texture, if you really amplify it and let your pussy relax even more, but let your heart open, just see what happens.
Wow. That's beautiful. Thank you. I'm gonna play with that for sure, because I know for myself that it is such a somatic. There is like my body. This is why this is why I asked you if I could get a yoni one from you. It's because I want to try the cervical yoni one, because I know that you have have them at some point. You did, or I want to get one while I'm here because it's like I'm ready to work the with the de-armoring process, right? Because you talk about how. I don't know if it was you that planted this in me, like in my mind, but I've known for a while that there's like stages to the de-armoring process, which is at first it's usually numb, and then you work through that, and then it becomes painful at some point. Sometimes it becomes painful, and then eventually you can work through that. That's where the trauma is stored and like the tightness, and then you get to feel the pleasure after you really get to work through that and like massage it almost out of you, right? And I've worked with that a bit, and I've but I'm still on that journey, and I think is that what was really helpful for you as well?
So de-armoring, it will never end, because like one of the pieces of the de-armoring is the shadow work, to look at, well, why is my body holding this? Because in terms of like repeatedly, because I might work it out and then I'll come back 3 weeks later and it's there again. And because life happens, and like, for example, one of the ways I unconsciously hold tension is when I'm driving and I'm sitting in traffic. And I notice, and also at the computer, it's just worth, like right now, feel, are you holding your belly in? Like unconsciously we're holding. What is going on? Obviously when I'm driving in my car, I'm a bit stressed, but there's other things that we might hold against in life. And so it's a lot of exploring what are the behaviors that keep this really in place. And then, continuing with my de-armoring practice has been amazing. And I don't really necessarily see that it's a thing and then it's done. I see that it's just a tool in my toolbox that I use to keep my vagina toned, to keep, just to keep it alive, and to keep like putting my mind, it's like what I say about it is it's so much just about the connection that you're creating, almost more than anything else. No matter what you're feeling, you are connecting to, in a deep, deep way, places in your body that have been neglected or ignored, or where your consciousness has had to leave. So my cervix has scarring on it. And if I wanted to, I could go and do like a lot of scar tissue work, but it's okay. I don't need to. But I have numbness on my cervix. I probably always will. But that doesn't mean I can't still put my mind there and, kind of almost create the experience of feeling. And I've got the rest of my cervix that I can access to. So a lot of it is again playing with your mind. It's like so where you feel numbness or where you feel pain, let's say, just be there and hold there, breathe there, let it soften. Rather than pushing in, it's like just let it open to receive you gently. There's a lot of we're kind of violent towards, I've noticed, our vaginas. We're like pushing and prodding, and just lean in and let the tissue invite you in at its own pace. Leaning just to the edge of any discomfort. You don't have to like push it out, just like lean in, let it open. Just really gently and beautifully. And you can use your mind to transmute what you're feeling. So, for example, this is completely unrelated, but I was practicing this when I went camping, and I stood on a bull ant, and it was 2 a.m. in the morning, and I'd just gotten out of my tent to, I don't remember why, but I was out of my tent at 2 in the morning. I must have gone for a pee or something, I don't know. I come back in, stand on a bull ant, and I was like, oh no. A bull ant is like a bee sting.
Yeah, I've had it, I think, yeah.
And so I'm lying in my tent, and I'm like, okay, just going to breathe down into my toe and I'm going to imagine that this is actually pleasurable. And I did a lot of mind work, like, can I find like the way that this is pleasurable? Like it's kind of like a stingy pleasure. Like it's
kinky.
like I was like trying to find, a pleasure.
Little ant play.
That's exactly it. And like I could hold it for moments, but like not all the time, because my God, that was powerful. It was powerful. I was just like, like, you know, using my powers to like transmute this feeling. So I think about that when I think about transmuting what I'm feeling. Numbness, you know, it is its own sensation. So explore that. Again, give it a color, give it a texture, a shape, make it real. The more you make it real, the more it becomes a thing that you can feel. And then it's not numb anymore. And drop expectations around what it's supposed to feel. Just stay open. Really, really wide. Just, this is it. This is, you know, it's like, and I get to choose how I'm experiencing this. I see a lot of impatience and frustration and like, when is this going to happen? And for me, that's just like more of the same.
Yeah.
It's more of the same, pressure on our bodies, and like, this is really a journey of self-love and like honoring what you can feel, and every bit of pleasure, just the tiniest bit of pleasure, celebrating it. Exploring with stillness and exploring what you can feel at very subtlest layers. You know, and then things start to get really interesting.
Yeah. And how much of this is found in your journey? Like, has this been mostly found through your own process with yourself before inviting another partner into it, or like how much has this been an internal exploration versus like partners helping you with this process?
Yeah, well, I think in a way I got lucky in that I have spent the majority of this time on my own. Yeah. So that for me was lucky, because I got to really be with myself and really like, but I mean, also I was also producing content. I was not available for a partner at all. I was just too consumed by this. And so I got to practice and explore with myself, you know, just nights on end, just with me. And then I had my first lover experience where it started to open up, and I do think it was helpful in a way just to give me an initiation, or I initiated him, I don't know. It was just a beginning, like bit of a that's right, yeah, now I remember. It was the first time that I'd done, that I just started activating some of the things inside of me that I had been practicing. And he said something like that he'd never experienced a vagina do that before, and that it was like watching the universe birth itself. That's what he said.
Like this thing, like when you're kind of dancing around it. Wow, that's beautiful. Oh
and then I had my first interstellar lover, and that was amazing. That was amazing experience. Just kind of becoming divine lightning with this person. And then I did a whole bunch of exploration with plant medicine. That helped as well.
Which ones in particular?
Mushrooms in particular. Cannabis also super helpful because it's such an enhancer and expander. Mushrooms were a lot about clearing trauma, clearing a lot of stuff that was sitting in my body. And a little bit of work with Blue Lotus, a little bit of work with Damiana. They're very, very subtle medicines, though. And for me, as someone who was trying to learn how to feel, those two, the cannabis and mushrooms, were really helpful. And what I found was that, you know, once I was shown, then I could integrate it. And I was like, okay, now I get it. You know, and so I've always, it's definitely not those. You don't need that either, by the way.
Yeah.
You don't need that. And so I would say when people say, well, you don't need that, and I'm like, well, I agree, you don't need that. But this has never been a path for me about need. This has just always been a path for me about exploring. Like, oh, so now what? Oh, so now what? Oh, what does this do? Oh, what does this do? And just kind of being a really curious person. And there is actually plenty of evidence that those medicines were used throughout Asia and India forever in yogi circles. Shiva is the god of cannabis. But yeah, I would not say that you need it. Like, especially for people who are listening who are not into that. No, the magic is all inside of you. The magic's all already there. That medicine, it just shows you what's there. It just shows you a little bit more if you are stuck, I've found.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like I see orgasm and sexual pleasure and pleasure itself as another way for me to experience God. Just like psychedelics are another way for me to experience God. They're all, religion, another way to experience God. Like they're all different doorways to the same thing. And you really boil it down.
Have you done psychedelics?
Yeah, plenty.
Yeah, okay.
Plenty. Yeah,
right.
yeah. About
and
10
have you
years.
ever done any like body work when you're on psychedelics? Like,
cannabis, yeah.
Yeah?
Yep, I have. And that's usually like it's become like my weekly practice.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I smoke some weed, and then I go and I just have like a date with myself.
Yeah.
And I have like no stimuli. Like I listen to maybe some like really, really like frequency sounds or like something really mellow. And I just like, just like experience the pleasure of my body. No rushing, because I know that it's such a, I've learned over time to not be like, not expecting, not trying to do anything, not having a goal, right? Also with my partner. And I think that it just, and so I'm like, just enjoying it for the feeling itself. If I have an orgasm, it's a bonus, right?
Yeah.
I think that, and it takes a lot of, it's not easy to stay that centered with it, I guess, sometimes, because it's like, it is so, because also it's like, it can be up to 2 hours of like, and it's like, yes, it feels good, but it's like, it's not always like, oh, I'm so keen to go do this, because that's basically like I'm taking an hour or a 2-hour meditation. It's like, that's hard. It's like kind of hard
work.
work.
Do you go into pleasure?
Yeah, I do, and I feel it, but it takes so much focus of like, not letting my mind drift. As soon as my mind drifts into thinking, the pleasure kind of stops, right? Because I'm elsewhere. So I've gotten really good, of course, because I've also been meditating for like 5 years. And so of course that's become very strong, of like being able to really tap in with myself, tap in with my partners. And that's where I feel like my journey I feel like my mind is doing really well with this. My mind and my presence are very much there. And that's why I still feel like there is something in my body hanging on. But we almost talked about this before, and I was like, we're not going to talk about this till the podcast, because this is something that's just this week opened for me, which is the power of the voice and the pussy and like the portal opening. I've been singing this last month. Nico's been encouraging me to sing more. And so I've been exploring my voice. I've even sang at Shot Kickers, like on the stage for the first time.
Great.
And I was able to have an orgasm after that.
Yeah,
and
because of the vibration. It's like you should join my membership, I think.
Oh my gosh, I've thought about it, absolutely.
It's coming up. But I'm listening to what you're experiencing, and I'm like, there's something, I really feel like, if you learn how to work with your mind inside of your body, and if you learn the directional energy, the way the directions of energy flow, then it can help anchor your mind. Also, when you learn, if you have touch as a real anchor as well, like really getting inside your skin, like every single like cell of your skin, your vibration of the voice. It's like practice. How far down can you feel your voice if you hold your lungs, if you hold your belly? Can you focus your voice down into your belly? Can you focus your voice down into your cervix? You can.
Absolutely.
And it's like a ripple through the water of your body. And so, yeah, it's a massive key.
Yeah.
Good one.
Thank you. Yeah. When I was singing, it was like I was breaking through. I was projecting what I wasn't able to get out, right? Because this block that I've had, it's like I'm getting through this block of my voice that's like, and at the same time, the two biggest shame pieces for me, sex and voice, like singing and yeah.
Yeah, it's connected, right?
So
it's like these two mouths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's like I always think if I relax my throat, I relax my cervix.
I can feel it. Every time you mention it, I'm just like, I can feel myself like
Tense.
unclenching in some way. Like sometimes I'm clenching here.
Yeah.
And speaking of this, I wanted to ask you about this. Is like, because the Kegel exercises and the yoni egg practices. Like, is this, what's your take on this?
Oh my God,
And
it's
do
so
you
interesting.
practice
No, it's so interesting that you should say this.
I don't know how, I had a feeling you were going to react this way.
No, well, okay, so where can I go with this? Okay, so for all of this time, I have not used the jade egg. I used to prior 10 years ago. And I realized, why am I pulling up my energy? I've got too much energy in my head anyway. I need to ground myself. We all need to come closer to the earth. And the first energetic current of cervical orgasm goes downwards. And I found like I didn't understand why I was doing the jade egg when it was doing what my pussy already actually knows how to do. And also, like, with the jade egg, you are just strengthening the muscles that are already strong, but you're not really aware that there's some that are not as strong. So you're just keeping the imbalance in place. So I actually let the jade egg go when I started this journey, and I focused on using my wand to stretch my muscles out in the other direction. Because you've said a few times, I'm just sitting here clenching, right? So we're sitting here clenching. When you breathe out, your pussy is naturally just taking a gentle contraction. And so, I had this impulse to just see if this was still going, and it is.
I had the impulse to check my camera as well.
Do you want to?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Beautiful as ever.
Okay, so what was I saying? Oh yeah. So I let it go because I felt like this is already going on naturally in my body. It doesn't feel right for self-cervix. So now cut to literally Saturday, this week.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
I pulled my jade egg out again. Yeah. Because now I'm curious as I hit my menopause years. And I see a lot of women struggling with libido and just a less strength in their orgasms. So I'm curious. So I've pulled it out and I'm starting to explore with it, and I'm doing my own little 30-day practice to see what happens. And so far, I mean, what I love about it is, yes, it gives you this really nice experience of feeling pleasure, right? I can feel pleasure as I'm doing my exercises around it. And what I'm also loving about it is that I'm working with my vagina in a way that is supportive, I think, of the orgasmic currents that I teach. But what I'm not sure about is that what it feels like when I try to relax is my muscles feel a little wooden. They feel like they're not quite relaxing. Like they're just maybe a little held. So that's my current exploration, and I'm incorporating my wand with it. So I'm doing jade egg and then some wand practice, and then I'll have sessions where I don't do the wand to see what happens.
At the same time, you'd have the jade egg
No,
or
after.
No? Okay,
so wand after egg to just stretch out my muscles
Yeah.
after the egg. But sometimes also, what happens if I just use the egg?
Yeah.
Screaming children outside.
I just block it out.
Yeah,
it's okay.
So it's funny you should ask because, I can see that it helps you to feel, but it's just really the jury is out for me if I can fully descend, which is like really allow the cervix to sigh down. And I felt like it's a little bit like it's not moving anywhere anymore. So I'm just gonna wait. But at the moment, for the last 10 years, I haven't needed to teach the jade egg. It just hasn't needed to be part of the curriculum because I can see that it's problematic. It's not one size fits all. One size fits all. Any of this. So, look, if it works for you, do it. But my question will always be, can you sufficiently relax, totally relax all the way down? Yeah. You know, if you talk to pelvic floor specialists, you know, they will say that, and also body workers, they'll say that our problem usually is that we're tense. We've got so much tension. And that what we're trying to do with self-cervix is unwind the tension. So now before I share this with anybody, now I'm sharing with you, but before I actually share this, I just want to see what is the impact. Like, I can squeeze the jade egg really hard and have an orgasm, but is that what I want to do? I don't know if I want to squeeze the jade egg really, really hard to have an orgasm. I like the practice that I teach, which is orgasm comes through your relaxed natural state. That it comes from dropping down completely and allowing the ascending current to flow through you it's like bouncing a ball. You drop a ball to the ground, it bounces right back up again, and that's what the orgasmic energy does.
Can you explain more about that? Like, how does that,
I'll put my glass down. Get ahead.
Yeah, I would love to know more about this.
Well, there are just currents of energy moving through your body. And one current is the one that moves down, and this is the ascending current. So this is the self-cervix method. And I think of this method, I think of the descending current. It's like the original current, the one that you're born into your body. Your spirit comes into a body. You are born down onto the ground, earthward. Our original movement is downward. Only when we're fully embodied can we really transcend the body. Like, that's super tantric, actually. It's through our embodiment that we can transcend the body. So you've got to get down fully into your feeling body. Once you're down, and you're open, your heart is open, the energy starts to move up again. And it happens by itself. It happens when you're fully relaxed down and you fully understand this octopusy motion and how to really widen and expand the energy around your heart. It just goes.
And so this is something that you're almost visualizing while you're with a partner or when you're self-pleasuring?
Yeah, I'm usually visualizing here and what's happening here really intently. There's like a spiral pattern happening here. I'm visualizing my cervix is opening wide to receive him. It's like a mouth. It's like widening open, dropping down. And then it just starts to catch. But then the next thing I might do is focus here. But more than often, my mission is to just keep making sure that my energy is dropped down. The ascent will take care of itself.
So keep kind of pushing down.
Not pushing. Just don't push. You just relax down. You're breathing. You can use your voice. You can use your voice. And you just imagine your cervix is like gradually opening wide and wide. And like every mouth it will eventually close. And then your whole vaginal passage is like an octopus. Pulling upwards. Yeah. Sometimes you can just do that just for fun. Like I call it flutter. You just flutter and see what happens. If you just can do that while you stay relaxed though.
Usually while you have a wand inside or something.
You can practice with a wand, yeah.
Or you can just do it while you're driving the car as well,
exactly.
Right?
I just actually sit here and I can do it.
Yeah. Is it part of your meditation practice?
It can be, yeah. I just sit here right now and I can just sigh. But it's funny because I've been doing this JDig, so I don't know if I can actually do it, which is interesting, right? I'm like, oh my god! The other day I was like, oh my god, my sigh has disappeared. Like I call it the cervical sigh. It's like a
like you can actually physically feel it.
yeah. So now that the energy is moving up. Yeah. So, okay, all right. I haven't lost my sigh.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So yeah, I'm so curious about, the whole jade egg journey, because I have been a bit of a naysayer for the last 10 years. So it just wasn't right for what I was trying to create for us, which is down, 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 down. And, with menopause and the various things that occur during menopause, I still don't know that it's the right solution, but it's definitely something that can give you at least instant gratification. It's a bit of an instant gratification because you can, as you squeeze it, you start to feel a lot. So it can be encouraging.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I've worked for so many years on opening myself up and creating space, like I think now having the jade egg practice, I think maybe the timing could be good. We'll see. I guess what I would like to discourage is like just notice the amount of efforting with the jade egg. Notice if you can truly keep relaxing down, like really allowing this full opening, this full. And then and have you got the ability to flutter?
I want to ask for some, for the person who is starting their journey of awakening their body. We're all on, I guess, a different level of the ladder in this situation, right? And where would you, any just pieces of advice that you could maybe share with? I would love if you could share a piece of advice for the women who are exploring themselves and they're, opening themselves to this type of pleasure. Also for the men, and maybe for couples. Like, do you have like a piece of
starting place?
Yeah. Any or all.
Okay, so for a woman, if you haven't touched your cervix with your finger, I would start there.
Can you reach it? Because I thought you would. Oh, okay. Because I thought you couldn't reach it.
Yeah. Well, you can. Yeah. You have to squat and shorten your torso. So you're leaning over and up. Like in some occasions, it might not be possible to touch, and that's because the cervix may be the womb. The whole womb might be in a reverse position so that the cervix is hidden and tucked away and difficult. But for the majority of us, the cervix is reachable. So when you go to look for your cervix, you might think it's just straight up. It might not be. Your cervix might your womb might have misaligned and be kind of over onto the side, or, so you can kind of search around for it, and it feels like the tip of your nose or like a protrusion. Some people have mistaken it for like a growth and thought they had something going on in there, but it's the cervix. So the cervix is the neck of your uterus. It's the same. It's part of your womb. So I would say create a little beautiful little practice, little ritual, and see if you can touch your cervix and see what state your cervix is in. Can you feel when you touch your cervix? What can you feel? Does it feel icky? Does it leave you feeling, or are you too? Do you feel too afraid to touch your cervix to go anywhere near yourself like that? And that is a really, really interesting starting point to be like, this is the state of things. This is where I'm entering the work. And then I would just be integrating more and more internal touch in self-pleasure and with a partner. Men, I would suggest that men, like I've just teaching a men's program. It's 6 months long, so it's There's a lot in there. I mean, men, it's just about making sure your partner feels very, very safe at first. Like, first principle, you're creating emotional safety with your partner. You're really attuning to them through your eyes, through your breath, through the quality of your voice. You're present. You are, like, I think it's really helpful as a woman if you're already doing some practice before bringing your partner in, so that you can guide your partner a bit. So you can say, you can let your partner know how to touch you in a way that feels comfortable, if even better, pleasurable, because it's also pretty intimidating for a partner. And not necessarily safe. So, you know, for him, if he's got to figure out what to do, so you can really assist that process by, you know, learning about your body and then making playful asks and being like, oh, you know, a lot of women feel really scared to do that, but I want to say, like, this is important for you to sort of take responsibility for your pleasure and not outsource it. And then once, you know, then you can really easily move into flow states. Practicing a lot of stillness during lovemaking, really, when, you know, your partner feels your cervix. It's really great if he's like, oh, I can feel your cervix, and then you breathe into your cervix. So that's what I would say is really beautiful for couples. It's just so much. So, yeah.
I love that. I feel so much more, like, I feel like so much more pleasure from stillness and him just being inside of me than the penetration itself. It's like you feel like the energy is just coursing through my body.
It's like the friction, like, it serves a biological purpose. It creates ejaculation, which creates a baby. But when you are still, you can hold, you can feel the subtle things that when there's too much stimulation, you can't feel them. You're just completely focused on all of the things that's happening. So this is entering into really subtle terrain, and it's reshaping the way we make love.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, actually, I just thought of one more quick one. When there are, and I've heard there's a few different, there's many different types of orgasms, right? And how could a woman know that she's having a cervical orgasm? I was just talking to a friend of mine, and she said, I was explaining her about you, and she was like, I think I just had a cervical orgasm the other day, like for the first time. And she's explaining it to me, and I was like, I think that's how Olivia explains it. Yep, I think so.
What did she say?
I think she said that I think it was energy was moving up and down the body, like it wasn't like all congregated here. It was like shooting up and down, and it was while her partner was inside of her. Yeah, and so I think that's what she said.
You know what's so cool about cervical orgasm is it's so different for everybody. Like, everybody's kind of sharing of what cervical orgasm feels like. I've got a survey of like hundreds of people, and their stories are so different. I'm like, wow, this is so interesting. I think you just know. It's kind of like those things, like, how do you know they're the one? Oh, you just know. I would say that's the only answer that I can give. Absolutely. It's like, it's just a bigger, deeper, often quite profound, often energetic. Some people have emotion, some people don't. Some people have super psychedelic experiences, some people don't, but it's always expansive. It's always full body, blissful, beautiful. Yeah. And the more, you see, you can't, this is the thing, because it's so different for everybody, you can't even chase it. All you can do is relax and be in the present moment. And that's it. Just relax, be in the present moment, focus your mind, enjoy.
Boom. That's right. Amazing. That's the perfect way to end this.
Great.
So thank you. And I want to give you a space to share your offerings. Tell me about the community.
Oh, right.
Tell me about your men's program and anything else that...
Oh, okay. Well, when will this go out?
When?
Yeah.
Good question.
Don't
Let's
know.
say in the next 2 weeks.
Ooh.
Potentially, could be.
Well, I think the most exciting thing, the biggest thing on my mind right now is a membership portal, which is going to be a slow release of content over 6 months to a year or however long people want to stick around. I think that's kind of the most exciting thing that I'm birthing right now, and it's going to be accessible, and it's going to be, you know, that was the main thing for me, is like a lot of my offerings, they're priced a bit higher, you know, because they're so unique. Not even that high really, but I wanted a place where, you know, there's really great teaching for a really accessible price, and people can come in and start awakening their cervix. So that's the Awaken Cervix membership, and that is starting hopefully at the end of May.
Okay, sweet.
The men's program is running, so you can't jump into the men's program, and that'll be available next year again. The next thing that I'm actually running is a workshop called Awaken His Prostate.